welcome. There's a microphone on the chair. You can choose on. Hey, Kinshuk, good to see you. There's a microphone on the chair. Sit down. Good to see you guys. Kinshuk, you don't have your bachelor yet.
I don't know. Hopefully soon.
Okay,
Hopefully
I hope so too. I hope so
Still
too.
to come.
So tell me, who are you? How old are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, I am 21 years old, originally born in India, but I've lived here in Holland since I was 11 years old, so I've been here for a while now. I lived in a city called Hilversum.
Okay, perfect.
And
Some other Hilversum people here.
Yeah.
Really nice. And Dr. Emami Namini, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do at the EZ?
I will come back to this in a second. First, I would also like to welcome, also from my side, all the parents, all the family. Very warm welcome to Erasmus University. It's great to see all of you. And of course, also a special welcome to all our graduates. Also, congratulations on your first academic degree from my side.
Perfect. Yeah, you can do that for sure. Yeah. No. So tell me a little about yourself. What courses do you give here?
So I teach them international economics in the second year. And I think we have a special relationship because it was in 21 when I taught you. And I think it was the first year after the online year that I taught against students on campus. And like I said, it was a special feeling because when I was teaching them, students were required to come to class with face masks.
Yeah.
And I should tell you that when a person is wearing a face mask, especially a student in the lecture hall, they all look identical. And then imagine me coming to the lecture hall, 250 students all looking identical.
Yeah.
So that was actually initially a bit frightening.
Yeah.
And also when students talked with me in the break or something, I could not figure out, are they smiling or looking grumpy?
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, students decided to take off their mask, and then I had a closer relationship with the students. And I wouldn't come here on a Saturday morning if I wouldn't have a close relationship with you.
That's amazing. Really good. Really good. So, Kinshuk, starting this bachelor 3 years ago, I think it was for you. Tell me, what was your experience? Was it difficult?
Yeah, especially the start for us was very sort of uncommon, not what we had expected, not what anybody else would have expected either. So we all started completely online.
Yeah.
I also decided to stay at home for my first year, so that was also something that originally I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
But with COVID, it was what ended up making the most sense.
Yeah.
But I think it did make it slightly harder, at least personally speaking. For me, it made it harder to get to really connect with people when you've only seen them from the shoulders and above.
For sure.
But yeah, I think it also made it so that when we came back in the second year with the professor in our first classes, even with the restrictions that we had and the face masks, I still remember the big pink oversized face masks you'd get in the university. It did make everybody a lot more willing to go out of their comfort zone and willing to talk to people more and make more friends. So I think whatever we lost in the first year, we made up for more than enough of it in the second and the third.
That sounds really good. Then, when was the moment for you that you thought, okay, I made the right decision, this bachelor, I'm going to finish it, and this is what I like doing? Was it already in the first year? Or?
Yeah, I think I got quite lucky in that sense that moment came relatively early for me. I think it was, we had a microeconomics course in the first year, and I think we had an assignment for looking at how criminal behavior can be, or the sort of pros and cons that a criminal has in their mind before they decide to steal or not. And we looked at it through an economic model and tried to see at what levels sort of crime rates might drop or things like that might change. And I remember being really fascinated by that project because it was something that I had not seen economics be used for ever before. In school, economics was very much, it's you learn about money and the economy and how it works, and now it was really learning about how human behavior sort of works, which was the part that made me really, really interested in it, and it made me realize for sure that I'd made the perfect choice with my bachelor's.
That's really nice to hear. I think a lot of other graduates would remember that assignment. And Dr. Umami, what do you think? What do you need to be a good economist in the future or already? What are qualities that the students need?
I think a simple answer would be just study hard for our classes. Then you become a good economist. And then I would like to come back to the speech of our dean, Professor Runen. So he explained the world is complex. And I think a very good economist can then explain everything, all these very complex relationships in a very simple and intuitive way.
Yeah.
So my experience is, if someone explains an economic relationship to you in a non-intuitive way, it is incorrect.
Yeah.
So typically, if it is intuitive, it is correct.
Yeah.
Basically, what I also think is always important, because you have to understand what are the basic mechanisms driving something. So always dig really deep into an economics problem to really go to the heart of it, so that you can feel a bit the heartbeat.
Yeah.
And then isolate, let's say, maybe one or two mechanisms driving the big outcome. And then explain it to someone who is a non-economist, and if for that person your explanation goes down like warm milk with honey, then you're a good economist.
Yeah.
So this is maybe in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And I think also those of you who followed, so I recognize some of you who followed my master level class in September and October. At least this is what we tried to do, to understand the basic mechanisms driving the big outcome.
Yeah,
So
that's really cool. It makes me think of a quote that I've heard that said that if you can't explain it to an 8-year-old, you don't know it well enough.
Yeah.
And I feel like that resonates a lot. So Kinshuk, of course, getting a bachelor is not easy. What do you think were some moments for you that were like a little bit more difficult, a little more where you're like, okay, I need to really work now?
Yeah, I think the moment that was really difficult for me was coming back from exchange. I still remember coming back from exchange. It was a very big shift of you were immediately back again onto courses.
Yeah.
You were in a completely new place, and everything felt very, very new. And now you're back, and it's majors, and it's thesis, and it's possibly the most important part of your three years here. And I think that was a part that I found that I struggled with myself as well. But in the end, it all worked out. So
that's really good.
There's always good signs there. But I think that was a point that required a bit more work, because that's when it was all changing and it was all coming right to its end.
And then, of course, I'm going to ask for what were the nice moments. I feel like exchange is coming, but maybe what were the moments that you feel like this was so much fun?
I think a lot of the nice moments also came off these moments where I was really busy and when I was working really hard. I still remember like being in the library until closing with some friends, working really hard, but also being distracted once in a while, having some fun. Those were the sort of moments that I still remember the best from the last year.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Even though they were hard times, or what felt like hard times at the time, they were also the most cherishable, I guess.
Yeah, I see that. When the moments you're working really hard, you kind of don't feel good because you have to work so hard. Then right after that, or the moments in between with all your friends, they're always so much fun. So I really see what you say. So, Dr. Umami, what would you like to say to these graduates of 2023? Like with some advice or some proudness?
Advice for the later life or for the master studies?
Whatever you want, masters or later life?
For the later life, so I think something that is very important, and I typically advise my students, so question everything. So regardless of whether your friend tells you something, your superior, our authorities, always question it. But very carefully question it, and only afterwards make your decision. Maybe the only exception is if your parents tell you something, or let's say, but also in my classes. Then you don't have to question it.
That's really good.
And maybe also something, I don't know whether it became clear in the speech of the student, and maybe I contradict with some of your parents' viewpoints, but very often I hear people telling our graduates, do something later that you enjoy, that you like. But if I talk to some of our former students with whom I'm nowadays close friends, and if I talk to them, they always tell me at a certain point you have to be pragmatic and get your priorities right. You earn in order to earn money. If as a side benefit you enjoy it, it's even better. But actually, two of my former students with whom I'm close friends, they became really rich. Really rich. They have money to burn it. And one of them actually was very open to me. He dislikes his job. But still he said, no, I earned so much at a certain point, and maybe you know all this saying, but he changed it a bit. I can't stop working when I'm tired, regardless of whether I'm done or not. So basically this is my second advice. Also be pragmatic with your job. You have it in order to earn money. And if I may also give a third advice, but this is very short. So, and this is not related to the first two pieces of advice. So sometimes when I go grocery shopping here in Kralingen, and at the checkout counter of the supermarket in front of me, there's a student. One of my students, and I always check, what do they buy? And sometimes I think, oh my God. And so this is also a bit of an advice from my side to you, but this is a serious advice. So only buy food items that don't have more than 5 ingredients, and you should be able to pronounce each ingredient without a mistake. Then
I think that's great advice. Thank you.
But let's say,
I feel like that's great advice.
Serious advice.
Yeah, I think some people should definitely listen to it, and I'll try to take it into account as well. And then lastly, Kinshuk, you're sitting here with all your friends and a lot of people that you know. What would you like to tell them or say something to them?
I think I'd like to congratulate all of them, first of all. I'd like to thank them that they directly or indirectly, each and every one of them sort of helped me get to the bachelor in some way, which is very, very nice of them. Thank you. And I think that's all that I have to say. That I hope they don't become strangers, and I hope that we all still stay connected in some way.
That sounds perfect. Thank you very much, Kinshuk and Dr. Umami. Thank you, man. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, guys. You can put the microphone down and enjoy the rest of the ceremony. Thank you so much. I think it's really nice for everybody to get a little look into what it actually feels like and what it is to study here in Erasmus School of Economics.